So we already know the banners for version 5.5, including Xilonen, Xianyun, Venti, and of course, the newest addition, Varesa. But who should you pull for? In this video, we will go over every character and what they have to offer, and by the end, you might be surprised to learn why skipping these banners could be a decision you'll deeply regret for months to come. Before we dive deep into each character, I want to remind you that the Genshin Impact meta is constantly evolving. Characters that seemed skippable in the past have become essential for certain team compositions. And if you're watching this video months after release, consider this your warning that these characters might have become even more valuable than I initially predicted. Starting with Xianyun, this Anemo Catalyst user brings unprecedented vertical mobility and team support capabilities. Her Elemental Burst provides both healing and a substantial Anemo damage bonus, making her a versatile support that fits into nearly any team composition. What makes Xianyun particularly valuable is one of her passives, which enhances plunging attack damage for the entire team. This synergizes exceptionally well with characters like Xiao, but also opens up team compositions like Dialect or Gaming Plunge teams. Now, let's discuss Xilonen, a returning 5-star Geosword user who first appeared in version 5.1. Don't let her previous appearance fool you. She remains one of the most versatile and dynamic characters in the current meta. Xilonen's kit revolves around her unique Night Soul Point system, which allows her to transform from a standard sword user into a high-speed rollerblade attacker, completely changing her combat style mid-battle. What makes her truly special is how she transforms when in Night Cell's Blessing mode. She enters Blade Roller mode, replacing her normal attacks with 4 rapid kicks while moving at incredible speed. This mobility allows her to reposition constantly during combat, making her exceptionally effective against mobile enemies. What's particularly valuable about Xilonen is her source samples mechanic, which generates different soundscapes depending on her teammates' elements. These soundscapes decrease enemy elemental resistance to the corresponding element and can be triggered even when she's off-field, making her an excellent support for almost any team. Xilonen's Elemental Burst unleashes a powerful AoE Geo attack based on her DF. If at least 2 source samples have changed to different elements, she triggers an effect, healing nearby allies over time based on her DF. Alternatively, if fewer than 2 samples have changed, she triggers an Ardent Rhythm, playing 2 extra beats that deal additional AoE Geo DMG. This versatility allows her to fulfill both support and DPS roles depending on team composition. For those considering her constellations, they dramatically enhance her performance. Her C1 reduces Night Soul Point consumption, extending her Blade Roller uptime. C2 ensures her Geosource samples are always active while providing buffs based on teammates' elements. C4 grants a team-wide buff-boosting normal, charged, and plunging attack damage based on her DF. Most impressively, her C6 removes the time limit on Night Cell's Blessing, allowing indefinite high-speed attacks while healing nearby allies every 1.5 seconds. Now, let's talk about Varesa, the 5-star Electro Catalyst user who introduces an entirely new gameplay style centered around mobility and aerial combat. She's designed to deliver consistent damage while maintaining incredible momentum across the battlefield. Her kit revolves around her unique Night Soul and Fiery Passion mechanics, which enable a dynamic playstyle unlike anything we've seen before. Varesa's normal attack, by the horns, allows her to perform up to 3 electro-infused strikes. But what makes her truly special is her charged attack, which consumes stamina to headbutt enemies with Night Cell-aligned Electro DMG while propelling her into the air. This vertical mobility sets up her devastating plunging attacks, which not only deal AoE Electro DMG, but also generate Night Soul points when landing in combat or hitting an opponent. Once her Night Soul points reach maximum, she enters the Fiery Passion state, significantly enhancing her normal, charged, and plunging attacks with greater damage and unique effects. This state is what transforms Varesa from a solid DPS into an extraordinary damage dealer that can dominate the battlefield. Her elemental skill, Riding the Night Rainbow, offers unprecedented mobility options. When tapped, She rushes forward, dealing Electro DMG and gaining Night Soul points. But the Held version is where things get interesting. She enters sudden onrush mode, increasing her movement speed and resistance to interruption. In this state, she can use terrain for flying leaps and even walk on water. Varesa's Elemental Burst, a dazzling descent, launches her skyward before executing a powerful flying kick that deals massive AoE Electro DMG. Using this ability instantly restores her Night Soul points to maximum and activates Fiery Passion. While in this state, her burst deals even more damage, and after performing a plunging attack, she activates Apex Drive, granting increased resistance to interruption and unleashing a more powerful special elemental burst that ignores cooldown and consumes less energy. Let's talk about Venti, who remains one of the most versatile support characters in the game. His crowd control capabilities through his elemental burst can completely disable groups of enemies while providing significant energy refund. For players who missed him on previous banners, this is an excellent opportunity to add him to your roster. What's particularly noteworthy about version 5.5 is how these characters complement each other. Xilonen's def-based support capabilities and elemental resistance shred pair perfectly with Varesa's high damage output. Meanwhile, Venti's crowd control can gather enemies for both characters' AoE attacks, creating perfect synergy between the featured 5 stars. Additionally, Xianyun's plunging attack buffs naturally enhance Varesa's aerial combat style, creating a cohesive team design philosophy across this banner set. For free-to-play and low-spending players, prioritization is key. If you can only secure one character, I would recommend considering either Xilonen or Varesa based on your existing roster. Xilonen offers exceptional team buffs and even healing. Varesa provides unparalleled mobility and aerial damage potential that will likely become increasingly valuable as Natlon content expands. For those with more resources, combinations like Varesa with Xianyun have very high value. The way these characters complement each other is just overpowered. So let me circle back to what I mentioned at the beginning. The character that completely changed how I play Genshin was actually Xilonen. Her unique blade roller mode transformed my overworld travel experience so much. Her ability to support teammates through elemental resistance shred while being still functioning as a main DPS creates so much team flexibility. I almost skipped her banner, and it would have been my biggest Genshin regret. Remember that Genshin Impact is ultimately about finding playstyles that you enjoy, not just chasing the highest damage numbers. And this is just my view. Before we wrap up, don't forget that version 5.5 also includes several substantial events with generous Primogem rewards. Between these events and the regular Spiral Abyss resets, free-to-play players should be able to secure at least one 5-star character from this updates if you saved up a bit from previous patches. So keep that in mind and think twice before you pull. Thank you for watching this analysis of the version 5.5 banners. If you found this information valuable, please consider subscribing to the channel for more Genshin Impact guides and analysis. Drop a comment letting me know which character you're most excited for. Until next time, travelers, may your pulls be blessed and your artifacts roll into crit.